Again, this is the second podcast of the day. As mentioned, if the honest one is posted before this one, you will know a little bit about the structure and how the four podcasts are honest, like Guardiola, Yamal, and a World Cup podcast will all be posted today and tomorrow. Today being Wednesday, 10th of June, one day before the World Cup. Hopefully everyone's looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting one, but we'll cover that more when we do the World Cup podcast. So Guardiola, where to start with Guardiola? Following Guardiola for a long time since he played for Barcelona. We used to have a neighbour that lived down our road. We used to call him Guardiola because he looked like him when he had hair, when Guardiola had hair, the young Guardiola. So it's been incredible 10 years at Man City for Guardiola. I don't think anybody, even himself, expected him to do 10 years at Man City, but he's left a good legacy. I don't know if you know, I actually have a season ticket at Manchester City. So I think it was the second season that when Guardiola came, I applied for it in the first season, but I didn't get one. In the second season, I was sent a letter saying there were season tickets available, so I did get a season ticket. So I've had a season ticket there for about, I think, nine full seasons now. So yeah, I can remember going to Manchester City and talking to some older fans when I first started going to the Etihad about Guardiola, and I was raving about him, saying, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and he's going to be incredible. And even people I knew and who were doubters, I can't do it in these countries, and I was telling them, listen, the style of football that he's going to play is going to change a lot of things in this country. And I'm glad to say I was right. And it's not just the trophies, it's the style of play, it's the vision of football, the philosophy of football, and all these things come together. So like I said, with Guardiola, you could do a podcast for about 5 hours covering him, and that's just his time at Man City, never mind all Barcelona and everything. So I think something that people get wrong about Guardiola is just one style of play. If you look at how long he's been at Man City, the players he's had, the players he's adapted, the players that have left, the big players. Like, I think if you go back every season there's been big players leaving. Like, even if you had stayed this season, John Stones and Bernardo Silva are leaving. Season before, Kevin De Bruyne. Season before that, you can list off all sorts of players, legends as well, not just average players, that captains of Man City that have left in different seasons, and how he's had to adapt, how he adapted to Sergio Aguero. I think even to Haaland, and I've said it a bit as well about Haaland. I don't know if you ask Guardiola, I think Man City needed Haaland to get that Champions League, but after that, it's like, has Guardiola adapted to him enough, or wanted to adapt to him enough? Or is he the Guardiola type of player? I think on the face of it, you would say no. And I think if you ask Guardiola, or I don't know if he'd probably tell you anyway, but he probably wouldn't want Haaland for 5, 6, 7 years, a player like that. And that's no disrespect to Erling Haaland. Like, obviously, some of the goals you see and the commentators say is can they do that more regular with Haaland? Man City, get him that through ball. But obviously, teams play differently compared to when he was playing with Borussia Dortmund and stuff. So lots of ifs and buts. But even coming back to Guardiola, the amount of youth players that is integrated, and maybe the legacy won't be seen for 5, 10 years, everything that Man City have done. And I always keep telling people this about the fans as well. I say, listen, you're not going to see the fans for maybe 5, 10 years, the actual legacy that they've left behind. Even where we coach in Birmingham, so many young Man City fans now, and before 5-10 years ago you would never see a Man City fan. Maybe 15-20 years ago you would never see Chelsea fans, and then obviously since Abramovich took over and stuff, you start seeing them as youngsters. So the legacies, you don't just see the thing now, you see the thing in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time, what they've left behind. And maybe say a 10-year-old Man City fan now who's just grown up with Guardiola, or maybe a 15-year-old Man City fan now who's was 5 when Guardiola took over, you know, stuff like that. So you see the roots and the seeds in the future. So that will be interesting to see what's going to happen in the future, the managers they get, the type of players they continue to get, even bio in the youth system. So sorry, the send-off was incredible as well. So I was at the last match, Guardiola's last match. I think the way Man City done it was fantastic, even on the TV the day after, with everything, even the older players that came, and Bernardo Silva send-off, John Stones send-off. Fantastic and very classy the way they done it. And like I said, Guardiola is just, for myself, Barcelona or model. Barcelona, Messi, Guardiola, that kind of model is just the way I see football personally as well. And obviously you don't want to just copy people, just everything, but the systems and the way of thinking about football and different ideas. And people say if Guardiola does something, people will start copying it. But in that sense as well, I think in football, like they say in life, there's nothing new under the sun. So the ideas that happen now, you probably would have seen them maybe even 30 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe not on as big a scale, but there would have been different ways of thinking then, and they would have been pioneers of the game a long time ago. But obviously for these times, we live in a time where social media, so much analysis and everything is done, data, everything like that. So the way even I coach, think about the game, like I said, you've got different ideas of thinking. Some people like Klopp's idea, some people prefer Guardiola's, and I don't know if you can say there's a wrong or right way. I think as long as you believe in it, that's all that matters. As long as you believe in it and you can feel it, rather than just taking on somebody else's idea and just not understanding the concepts of it and why it happens or why they do things and why you can tweak stuff and put your own slant onto it. I think that's the main thing with anything. What you leave behind, and you make your art, you leave behind, and for the future generations to maybe study and look back and say how things worked in this day and age, and against other systems, and against, just like I said, you have to be a student of the game. I think I am. Some people don't think of football that deeply. Some people that do, the ones who do, obviously, I think they love Guardiola. He's pardon me. So, like I said, with Guardiola, you can, same as him, you can overthink and study for days on end, days, weeks, months on end, just thinking about football. And that's why, like people said, it's a surprise it lasted 10 years. So you need a lot of energy, you need fresh ideas. That's probably why he changed a lot of assistant managers as well. But overall, just incredible. And obviously he's a legend of Man City. I think they're going to be putting a statue, obviously the stands being the Guardiola stand, and that stand as well, it was open for the first time for the last game of the season, and it's an incredible stand. And there was a lot of noise coming from it as well, even for the first game. So I think that Guardiola stand in the future, I think it's going to be help that stadium as well a lot. So it's going to be a great stand to look at it as well. Visually it's great, but just the noise that was coming from it as well was fantastic. So fantastic legacy that Pep's left. For Man City fans, what a roller coaster! What roller coaster! There's more ups and downs anyway, so it's not much of a roller coaster. It was just a fantastic ride. But for football, what he's done, hopefully we'll see him back. I think was in the news that he said to some friends that he'd love to be the England manager. So you never know, or an international manager. I would think one of the things I would love to see him managing Spain, but obviously that might you don't know, because obviously he's Catalan links and stuff like that. But it could be the closest we get to seeing like a Guardiola managing a Messi on an international level. So that might be an option as well. But other than that, like I said, Guardiola is just, there's too much to say, and maybe in the future we'll do a full in-depth podcast about him and his career. But obviously now we just say, well, I'll just say thank you to Pep for everything he's done for football. The Man City fans, I'm sure, will appreciate it as well. A lot of the other teams will be thankful that he's gone. And even for Pep, like I was saying in the previous podcast about Slot, maybe thinking, all right, next season, like, it's not as if Arsenal are like getting close to 100 points. Maybe he could have thought to himself, all right, with the team that we're kind of building here, we can get that title, because they were so close. It's just that match against Everton, you know. So I would have liked to have seen him go one more season, but obviously I think he was planning to leave even a season or so before. So I think there's only so long you can go on, and then you just even depending on what other circumstances they are. So just finishing up on him, just a fantastic legacy that is left, like I said, for Man City and for football. And just a huge thank you from myself personally for everything that he's done, and hopefully that he will continue to do in the future. So that's second out of 4 done, and I think the Lamine Yamal one is next. So goodbye.